Hi, everyone. My name is Corine LaFrenier, and I'm a junior at Hope College.
And my name is Ben Gleeson, and I am also a junior at Hope College.
Together, we are Team NASA in the laboratory of Dr. Rivera. Today, we would like to talk about our research on how chronic low-dose radiation impacts the behavior of mice. A major component of NASA's 2018 strategic plan is to send astronauts to and beyond our lunar orbit within the next couple of decades. One major risk to mission success is an astronaut's exposure to space radiation, including high energy and low energy protons. Current research has focused almost exclusively on the effects of mimicked space radiation using high dose rates of ions with higher atomic numbers. However, research into the effects of low dose proton radiation is also warranted due to their high abundance in the space environment and their possible inflammatory effects. The goal of our study was to determine how low dose proton radiation impacts the behavior of mice. We hypothesized that this radiation would negatively impact general behavior due to lasting systemic inflammation. For our experiment, mice were put into 50 milliliter conical tubes and irradiated using the Hope College Pelletron accelerator. And on the right, you see the window where they are irradiated. Our experiment was comprised of 3 treatment groups. A group with no irradiation that was not constrained in a tube at all. This was the control group. A group with no irradiation that was constrained, and a group with irradiation and constraints. This group was irradiated 13 times over the course of 50 days. Approximately 40 days after irradiation, mice underwent behavioral testing. We determined the amount of radiation that mice were to receive based on a previous study that recorded the amount of energy radiation astronauts are subject to in space vehicles using a dummy filled with detectors. Mice were given a small dose of approximately 0.17 milligray of protons 13 times over the course of 50 days, resulting in a cumulative dose of about 2.5 milligray. We were able to achieve such a small dose using Rutherford scattering. During the radiation protocol, mice from every treatment group were monitored for changes in growth and development. No significant differences in weight were observed between the treatment groups and controls.
The marble burying test involves putting mice in boxes of bedding along with several marbles. Mice with more compulsive behavior and anxiety tend to bury more marbles. We found that the mice who were irradiated buried significantly more marbles than mice who were not irradiated, as indicated by a lower buried signal from the image. These results suggest irradiated mice may have increased levels of compulsive behavior compared to non-irradiated controls. The open field test involves putting mice in boxes and recording how much time they spend at the edges versus in the center. Mice with more anxiety will spend less time in the center of the box and tend to stick to the edges more. We found that there was no significant difference in time spent in the center, but the irradiated mice had significantly higher activity levels compared to non-irradiated controls. The elevated zero maze test involves putting the mice on an elevated platform and recording the amount of time they spend in the open versus the enclosed portions of the platform. Mice with more anxiety tend to spend more time in the enclosed region, indicated in blue on the figure on the left. Our study found no significant differences between any treatment groups and controls. This is further evidence that this radiation does not impact anxiety. Lastly, the Porsolt forced swim test involves putting mice in containers of water and recording the time they spend swimming. Mice showing signs of depressive-like behavior tend to not swim around as much and float more. Our study did not find any significant differences between the groups, indicating that chronic low-dose proton radiation has no effect on depressive-like behaviors. In summary, we found that chronic low-dose proton radiation caused an increase in activity and compulsion-like behaviors, agreeing with our hypothesis. We are still researching and trying to determine what the implications of these results may be, but we believe that this radiation may somehow be linked to ADHD-like behavior in mice. As far as future directions for our research, we are hoping to compare the results from our low-dose protons with those of high-energy particles at similar chronic low-dose levels. We are also interested in testing how mixed particle radiation and shielding technologies in current space vehicles may induce spallation and subsequent changes in mouse behavior. Thank you to everyone for your time.